Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new around here or don't know who I am, my name is Madison. I'm a high school fashion design teacher, and here on YouTube I film sewing videos and tutorials to share my love and passion for fashion with you all. But today is not a sewing video. Today we are going to be talking about the trends of 2021. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I am someone who is always interested to see what the trends are for the new year and for the new season. Not that I really like following trends, because personally I believe that fashion is really a self-expression, and saying that I have to follow the rules of fashion basically is ruining every aspect of fashion that I love, because I personally love to break the rules or bend trends to fit my own personal style. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But I do like to see what the trends are for the new year, because it gives me ideas in regards to what's going on in fashion, what's going on in regards to the business of fashion, what things have inspired new trends, and also a lot of times gives me ideas for things that I could try to maybe get outside of my comfort zone and spice up my own wardrobe and style a little bit. Now, coming off the cusp of 2020, I think we can all agree that 2020 was quite an interesting year for all of us, and specifically a very interesting year when you look at the fashion industry. A lot of things changed in regards to how clothes are produced. A lot of things changed about the fashion industry, and I really think that fashion is going to be different from here on out. But I do think that in 2021 we are going to see a lot of trends that have carried over from last year, because if you think about it, most of us were in our houses for majority of the year and not really going out to places that we would typically dress up for, so we didn't really get to necessarily try all of these styles out. And 2021 is a year that we're hoping to get back to some type of normalcy and actually get a chance to try out all of these new trends that we had from last year and finally get to wear, but also try out the new trends that have been forecasted to be popular this year. So I've done a little bit of research to look and see what the trends are for 2021, although I really feel like, and what I've seen as well, is that a lot of trends from 2020 have kind of trickled over into the new year, and that's what I'm most excited about, because I feel like there are a lot of trends last year that I got introduced to that were really different from my typical style, that were super fun to start introducing into my wardrobe, and I'm very excited to introduce them this year and continue playing around with them, in addition to adding in and trying out some of the new trends that I've been seeing popping up and really love. So I thought that I would film a video today and share those 10 trends with you all, 10 trends that I'm super excited about for 2021. So the first trend that I'm super excited about, and honestly this is a trend that has stayed pretty consistent throughout the years, but the specific style in regard to this trend is the thing that has changed. So this first trend is ankle boots. Now, that's no surprise. Ankle boots have kind of been something that we've seen throughout the years. Like I said, it's a trend that kind of is a classic. It never really goes out of style, but it's this specific style of ankle boots that has kind of changed for 2021. And what we are going to be seeing is that there's more of like a retro flair to these ankle boots. We are seeing a lot of creams and white ankle boots that kind of almost have more of a 70s style to them, maybe are styled in more kind of vintage, old-fashioned type of ways, which I personally love. So I'm definitely excited about that, because I have some boots that I didn't really get a ton of wear out of in 2020, so I'm excited to continue integrating them into my wardrobe this year. And I think in the realm of ankle boots, we're also going to continue to see this style of combat boots still be a huge thing in 2021, especially Doc Martens. I feel like Doc Martens are one of those things that have always been in fashion, but I feel like they're more in fashion now with so many different types of styles, and I just got a pair and I'm honestly so excited about them. They're a kind of shoe that I never really thought I would ever see myself wearing, because to me they were just more for a very like grungy urban type of style, but I've been seeing so many fun combinations with Doc Martens being styled with dresses and skirts that I'm totally obsessed with. So I'm so excited to try that out this year in 2021 and kind of see how I like that style. All right, the next style I am super excited about for 2021 is one that I feel like half of the world thinks is super ugly, and then the other half is like, oh, this isn't too bad. And that tends to be the people who don't mind taking risks when it comes to fashion. And that trend is prairie dresses. Now, hear me out, okay? So last year in 2020, we kind of saw this aesthetic pop up known as cottagecore. Now what people didn't know is that there was a lesser known aesthetic called prairiecore, which I personally like a lot more because I grew up watching Little House on the Prairie, reading all the books, and basically wore prairie dresses for half of my life anyways. So I'm very excited about this trend, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's literal dresses, usually like midi dresses that look like they're straight off of Little House on the Prairie. And so a lot of people think that they're absolutely god-awful ugly. Target actually has an entire line of these dresses at the store right now, and I keep seeing people post about it all over social media and asking how in the world did Target think that this was in style and that these were cute because they're so ugly. And I personally am so in love with them, so I don't really get the whole people not liking them. I mean, I do. Prairie dresses, it's not for everyone. You definitely have to be willing to try something new and different and a little bit bold, because they really are old-fashioned, but I think they're very classic. And really they started to come out last year, but really in the UK. A lot of the UK bloggers that I follow on Instagram tended to wear those styles a lot more, and that is why I started to fall in love with it, because I've always been drawn to the fashions and styles of England and really all of the UK. They really have more of a really unique and kind of individual style in a way, and now we're starting to see that in the United States as well with certain brands, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I already have a couple of dresses that I'm so excited to wear this year, and I'm definitely planning on making at least one or two, so hopefully I can film some videos for those as well. All right, the other style and trend that I'm very excited about for 2021 is a trend that we started to see come into fashion in 2020, but we are also seeing a lot in 2021 as well, and that is the tent dress. Now, tent dress kind of fits into a lot of definitions, but really it's just all of those dresses that are kind of loose and baggy. Sometimes they're very simple, sometimes they have sleeves or puff sleeves, sometimes they don't, sometimes they have ruffles or tiers, sometimes they're just like a straight plain tent dress. And I think there is so much versatility in the tent dress. I also think they're so effortless. Again, it's one of those dresses that a lot of people probably don't see as being flattering because it is so loose, but I think there's something very beautiful about those dresses, and just like I said, effortless and so easy, and also like I feel like gives people a lot of confidence when they wear it. And I feel like you can do so much with them. You can throw jackets on and belts and all different kinds of shoes. So tent dresses are definitely a style and trend that I'm very excited to continue seeing in 2021. I've seen so many designers come out with some really pretty styles and silhouettes and prints and colors, and so that is definitely in the realm of like style that I prefer, things that are more kind of classic or old-fashioned or very effortless, and things that in a way are very bold, because tent dresses can be pretty bold. So that is definitely a trend that I'm looking forward to, and you will probably see a lot more of. All right, the other trend that I am also very excited about really got into last fall, but it's a trend that is going to be super strong in 2021, and that is the blazer. Now, when I say blazer, I'm not talking about like business suits, because business professional is literally the worst and most boring and like basic style in the entire world. I hate business dress because it's so unoriginal. It's lacking so much personality. Anytime people told me that I had to dress in like business professional to an interview, I always said, no, I'm gonna wear colors and prints and do my own version of business professional. But the blazers in 2021 are fantastic and so stylish and draw a lot of inspiration from the 80s. Now, I'm not a huge fan of 80s fashion, but for some reason recently, a lot of the things I've been pulling and combining together tend to be reminiscent of the 1980s, as are these blazers, because we're talking about more oversized blazers that tend to be kind of worn more loosely. They will have shoulder pads. They're also known as the boyfriend blazer. And that is a huge fashion trend in 2021. You can do so much with them. You can pair them with pants. You can pair them with a skirt, pair them with a dress. They're one of those pieces that you can kind of combine with anything and really just like elevate that outfit to the entirely next level, which I really love. And also I'm someone who gets cold a lot, so I think it's a great piece to kind of have an extra layer, especially in more of a business professional setting, but also still keeping with that elevated trendy style. I also think that it's such a great trend if you're someone who loves to thrift, because you can always find blazers at the thrift store. Sometimes you can find some really great blazers in the women's women's section, especially if they have pieces from the 80s, but the best place to look for blazers is the men's section, especially if you're going more for that like boyfriend blazer style that's very oversized, like you kind of just like borrowed it from your boyfriend. You can find some great pieces and get some very trendy jackets for a really great price and also be ethical and sustainable at the same time. Okay, the next trend I am really loving for 2021. I feel like this is less of a trend and more of a way of styling things, and that's this idea of contrast we're seeing in a lot of collections that are being put out by designers. And what I mean by contrast is a principle of design. It's something that's integrated into the ways that we design things or that we style things to give a bit of contrast into the overall look, but in the same way make it work together and be cohesive. And we're seeing this a lot in this contrast of sometimes colors and prints and fabrics, but really in this contrast of soft and hard, which is something I have really enjoyed playing with recently. You have been seeing a lot of things in outfits and pieces put out by designers where they play with this idea of taking a very feminine and soft piece and combining it with denim or leather, maybe pieces and silhouettes that are a little bit more masculine, and really playing with the contrast of them. But at the same time of them being contrasted, they're also very balanced out. So taking a very feminine dress and pairing it with an oversized blazer, it doesn't work, but it works so well. Or taking a skirt and a t-shirt and pairing it with a chunky sneaker, something more sporty. It doesn't seem like it would work because there's such a contrast, but at the same time, it's so contrasting that it's effortlessly stylish and chic. And so I am really excited about that trend. You're going to see it a lot, and I feel like it gives you so much more freedom when it comes to styling outfits and clothes, because it's kind of like breaking the rules of fashion, putting two different kind of subsets of aesthetics and styles and feelings together, but they work at the same time. So this contrast of soft and hard. All right, the next trend I'm also very excited about, and I feel like I'm super late into hopping onto this trend, is one that deals a lot more with our accessories, specifically jewelry. Gold jewelry is super in style in 2021, and you are also going to continue to see this idea of layering necklaces. Now that started to come into fashion last year, but it's also something that's going to be super strong this year, and it's something that I have really gotten into recently. I never really used to be that much like of a necklace and jewelry person. In high school I used to wear them all of the time, but in my like adult life not so much. But recently I have really been drawn to it because I feel like it's just this very simplistic and elegant way of adding kind of something different to your outfit. I've always been a fan of gold jewelry, and so this idea of just kind of layering different necklaces together is so fun. And I think it also gives you a way to add a little bit of sentimentality into your outfits and your style, because for so many of us, we have specific pieces of jewelry that are very sentimental to us. Maybe they're a family heirloom or something that holds a lot of meaning. And so to be able to play with those and wear them with a variety of different outfits is such a great thing, especially when they're in trend this season. All right, the other trend that I have been seeing on a lot of different silhouettes for 2021 is this idea of volume. And then you see it in a lot of different ways. You see it specifically in the volume of sleeves. There are so many puff sleeves, which I am all about for 2021. Volume in colors, just like the top I'm wearing. Obviously volume with the idea of the oversized jackets. Volume in skirts and in dresses, and really just this idea of kind of like things being oversized, either oversized as in large or oversized in this idea of playing with proportions in things and specific garments and silhouettes being in a way like larger than life. And I think that's such a fun trend to see on so many different things, but specifically we're seeing a lot with the sleeves, and I am such a fan of it. I really love puff sleeves. They are definitely reminiscent of very old-fashioned times, so I'm all about that, and they're all just very ladylike and classic and very feminine. And so I love seeing that on tops and on dresses. The oversized and kind of voluminous collars are super fun. So that's a really fun trend for 2021 that really you will probably see in every single season, coming in and out of different types of things. So that's a fun trend to look forward to and maybe try to integrate to just kind of give your style a different kind of edge. The next trend I have been noticing that I feel like will continue to be a lot more popular in 2021, but I was also seeing at the end of 2020, is this idea of layering. Now, layering we typically think about in regards to layering jackets over different things, but what I have been noticing recently is this idea of layering things underneath of different garments, like underneath dresses and different tops. One of my favorite ways that I see this is by seeing turtlenecks, whether it's like a turtleneck shirt or sweater layered underneath dresses, specifically like your dresses with thinner straps, or layered under even like wrap dresses or dresses with sleeves, and it kind of gives this interesting like dimension to it. It works great if you're wanting to still wear kind of spring or summer type dresses, but in a colder climate. Layering is your opportunity to do that, but I think it just gives an interesting look to fashion. Also, layering like t-shirts under dresses is something we've seen in the past, but I think that's also going to be a trend that you see throughout 2021. And I think that also in a way goes back to this that idea of like mixing and playing with your soft and hard styles and silhouettes. So layering kind of gives you a lot of opportunity to do that. I've also seen a lot of people recently, less on the designer side but more on people who just have their own wonderful sense of style, is taking men's button-up shirts and layering that over dresses and pants and kind of changing it up with like shirts as a layer, but like over things instead of under things. I thought that was really interesting that I've seen in different places. So definitely keep an eye out for that in 2021, and also just try to integrate it into your wardrobe. It's one of those trends that I feel like you really kind of have to take a gamble on and just give it a try, but it really is worth it, and it's such a fun way to really elevate all of these different pieces and style them in a different way rather than it just being a dress. Layering will really allow you to elevate it to another level, take it kind of into this different realm of styling. All right, the next trend for 2021 is one that I feel like a lot of people are going to be excited about because it was a trend that was really gaining popularity in 2020. I feel like half of my students were all about this trend, and at first I really didn't get it, and then I started seeing it being used and styled in ways that really fit into my own personal style, and I really became a fan of it as they started to get a lot more bolder in the fashions and styles that I tried out for myself. And so that trend is chunky sneakers. Now, those have kind of been around for about a year, but we are also going to continue seeing them in 2021. I feel like they're just such a versatile style. It's one of those ways that allows you to be very comfortable in regards to your shoes, but also very on trend. And so you can style it in so many different ways. My favorite way of seeing chunky sneakers styled, and this is the styling that really got me into this trend, is having the chunky sneakers, which are a lot more sporty. They're very definitely those like that like oversized trend as well, but styling it with dresses and with very ladylike and flowy skirts, I think it gives just a much different dimension to the trend of chunky sneakers. So I'm definitely excited about that for 2021. I just got a really fun pair of chunky sneakers at the end of 2020, so I'm excited to kind of integrate that in some different ways this year. Really, if you kind of jump on board with a very unique style and trend of footwear, it really takes your style in a completely different place. Shoes really can transform an entire look, and I feel like they're such a foundation to so many different fun, fashionable things. All right, the next and the last trend that I'm very excited about for 2021, I feel like it really culminates a lot of the trends I've already mentioned and am super excited about, and it also just encompasses my very old-fashioned personality, and that is the trend of historical silhouettes. Now, this can come in so many different shapes and sizes. You're gonna see it in dresses like your prairie dresses or cottagecore style of dresses, which I really think are going to continue to be popular in 2021, but predominantly right now we are seeing it in the form of corsets. Now, corsets were already coming into trend at the end of 2020, all different style of corsets, whether it is historically inspired silhouettes and colors and shapes being worn in a classic way, or your sporty corsets, which I saw all over TikTok, and I think those are literally so cool. The corsets that are like the Adidas and Nike, so fun. But I think the one thing that has really set this trend off at the very beginning of this year is the Netflix show Bridgerton. Everyone now is obsessed with corsets and wants to wear ball gowns all the time, which I'm totally a fan of. I'm not going to fault people for wanting to wear that, because if we're being honest, I wish that that was socially acceptable, because I would wear it all the time. you guys know that I already love historical fashions. I have a video where I wore historical clothes to school every single day for an entire week. So I can definitely get behind the historical silhouette trend. So you're seeing this in tops and pants and dresses, just really this very romanticized, kind of old-fashioned type of style. And I think a lot of it is being drawn upon from the 1700s and early 1800s more so than other time periods. Less about Regency silhouettes and styles, and probably more a little bit of your European Rococo, colonial, very royalty type of silhouettes. But that is definitely a fun trend, and I'm really excited to see where this goes, because I feel like it's a trend that's so new that we're going to continue seeing a lot of different kind of ideas and styles come off of this, because it is so broad. And I think people are going to have a lot of fun with that, and it's something that's very bold, but I feel like it's one of those trends that can kind of transport people somewhere and really gives into this whole idea of like romantic daydreams, and I think that we need more of that in our life sometimes. So that is a super fun trend to keep an eye out for, is historical silhouettes, and I'm definitely going to be trying to see how I can kind of integrate that into my style in more ways than just like the silhouette of my dresses. So that is my take on my favorite trends for the new year and 2021. Like I said, I am not one of those people who follows trends to a T. I kind of like to look at them as ideas to kind of elevate my own style and see specifically what is inspiring fashion. I think that's so interesting and unique, because I think in many ways fashion is very much very tied to sociology and psychology and what people want to wear, but also what people's lifestyles are like. So it's been very interesting to kind of analyze that, and I'm really just excited about a year where I get outside of my comfort zone even more when it comes to fashion. I always love to dress up anywhere I go. I love to wear things that are fashionable or my own take on fashion trends, but I feel like the one thing I've been challenging myself to do recently is to try things that are outside of my comfort zone, whether it's different shoes or silhouettes or styles or kind of just changing things up. You literally never know what I'm going to come out wearing. One day I will be very ladylike and feminine, and the next day I look like you know, a very trendy art teacher who just like does her own thing. So I think that's the great thing about fashion, is that we don't have to stick to a set of rules and trends. We can define it however we want and change it up however we want in regards to really the styles and trends that we choose to integrate into our own wardrobe. So I would love to hear your thoughts on the trends for 2021. If any of these trends are things that you would like to try out for yourself and integrate into your own wardrobe, or that you have been seeing and loving, or maybe there was a trend that I didn't mention that you're really excited about, drop it in the comment below. And I would love to have a conversation about the styles and trends for this year, because that's something that we can all appreciate and talk about and love. So that's a wrap on my analysis of 2021 fashion trends. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you aren't a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on new videos and tutorials coming out throughout this year. Have a great year. Happy 2021, and I will see y'all in the next video.